All right, joining me now here on the Matthew Filipovich Show is Xian Barrett. Xian is a Chicago-based U.S. Department of Education fellow. He is an award-winning teacher who just this last month was one of the 2,113 Chicago teachers who were laid off. You can find his writings at chiteacherx.blogspot.com and on Twitter at XianB8, which is XIANB8. Xian, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Matthew, I really appreciate you having me on.
All right, so Xian, again, as I just said, just a couple weeks ago, you were actually one of the over 2,000 Chicago teachers who were laid off. The way you were laid off, we'll get to the big issues here, but actually the actual way you were laid off was pretty horrible in itself. Just real quickly, how are you informed that you were no longer a Chicago teacher?
Well, this is the second time I've been laid off in this fashion. This particular time, I received a call from my mother who said that the principal had called my childhood home and that I needed to call back immediately. It's noteworthy because I haven't lived there for almost 20 years.
Wow.
I think it's down as an emergency contact. And what's particularly maddening about it is the previous time, in a way, this time was slightly, better, although it's damning with faint praise, in that the previous time my principal had read the standard firing script that Chicago Public Schools tells their principals to read to people to my mother. And then when I got rehired with the district, I tried to straighten out the contact information, but it appears they made the same mistake again. I do want to let you, and Matthew, you said, there are bigger issues, and I completely agree. I don't want to focus on this too much. I do think it's instructive just in the fact that if CPS has this low level of human respect for its dedicated, it calls into question their ability to treat the young people that, the system's supposed to be serving with respect as well. And that is a problem.
No, absolutely. It really does. It does show the disconnect and the lack of care and the lack of just human decency if they're willing to treat their, the teachers who, again, are the lifeblood of the system. If they were willing to treat them so lowly that they can't even bother to contact them on their normal phone, it is telling. You are correct in that matter.
Thanks.
So, Let's get to the fight, and we have been covering the plight, the war on teachers that Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel has been waging on the students of Chicago, on the teachers of Chicago. It really is horrific. It's been a little while since we've covered this, maybe a month or so. We have the school year coming up, starting up again. What's the latest developments as far as the fight that's going on in Chicago?
Well, following the layoffs, which when you add in non-teacher educators like clerks and psychologists and other service providers, you're talking about over 3,000 people. And each one of those people is the go-to adult for, a finite number of kids in the system. And when we're talking about Chicago Public Schools, we're talking about overall, a diverse population, but a population that skews more toward lower socioeconomic, more violence and instability in neighborhoods. And so these are the kids that need stability more than, anyone. So that's kind of the state it was a few weeks ago. And then the most recent piece is that they've been holding budget hearings, and the community's been, parents have been leading sort of a charge against this, in that the way these hearings work is that CPS kind of proclaims the budget, and that's the central office puts together the budget. Now the central office is appointed by the mayor. He appoints the CEO, who then fills out the team. And then it goes to public hearings, but those hearings are not binding in any way, and then it'll be voted on at the end of the month by the Board of Education, which is also appointed by the mayor. So you've got sort of a double executive branch system going here with no branch elected by the people, no legislative branch.